Hello guys, welcome to episode 9 of this series. In this episode, I'm gonna, add validation to the application. There are different approaches when it comes to validating the user input. We're taking, a simple approach. So we are going to add some data annotation attributes to our model class, and we are going to update the, patients page. So instead of the patients page, we have this section that is gonna take some input from the user using some, HTML elements like select, input, and then we're going to, invoke this method called addPatient. Let me change the code a little bit. The first thing I'm going to do is to add some data annotation attributes to my model class. So the patient has, different properties. I'm going to decorate those properties with some simple data annotation attributes, like, for example, required, and so on. So I'm going to remove this version and create a new version of the patient's class. There are different properties. For example, for full name, we're going to, decorate it using required and provide an error message as well. And we're going to do the same thing for other properties as well. Date of birth is the next one. Required. Gender is required. And the last one is contact number. We're adding the phone annotation to this one as well. So as I told you, there are many more possible approaches when it comes to validation. We're taking the simplest one, I guess. Now I am going to go to the patients page. So here, as I told you, we are using simple HTML elements, but I'm going to change that. So I'm going to use some built-in components from Blazor that support model binding and provide validation errors, validation summaries as well. I'm going to write the code and talk about them. So I'm going to remove this portion and write the new version of this code. So I'm using different built-in components like EditForm, data validations, validator, validation summary, InputText. They behave very much like simple HTML elements, but they have more functionalities built in. I am using validation message as well. So these are, as I said, built-in Blazor components that come with more features compared to simple HTML elements. Let me write the code for the gender section as well. Here I'm using input select, which is another built-in component. The reason why I am using these built-in components is that I want a more robust way of binding my model to my form. Contact number, and then the button. So this is the new version of my code. As I told you, I am using EditForm, and let's check this out. So EditForm is bound to a model called new patient, and of course this is the field that I've got here, right? So these are connected together now using this a model attribute, and then on valid submit I am calling that add patient. So I am not calling that function using my button anymore. The button is of type submit, which is going to submit the form, but when the form is submitted, I am going to handle the submission of the form using this add patient, which of course is the code we're creating here. This is something that I need to change as well. So this is for the edit form. And then I am using data annotations validator and validation summary, which help us to not only validate the new patient model when we are submitting the form, but also render any validation errors if they exist. So these validation messages or validation errors will be created using these data annotations attributes I have added here. And then I've got different, sections here. For example, for full name, I'm using InputText, which is a built-in Blazor component. I am binding it to the full name property of new patient. Take a look at the, syntax, @ bind value. So the value of this InputText is bound to the full name. And then for each one of these, I have this validation message, component. And I am using this, for attribute to get to the full name property of new patient, which means that this validation message is going to be responsible for rendering the validation errors raised on the full name. This pattern is going to repeat for date of birth as well. The only difference is that here I'm not using input text, I'm using input date. The next one is input select. Again, the value is bound to new patient gender with male and female. And I think I need to change these to lowercase. And then the last one is for contact number. So the contact number is going to use input text again with the binding as before, and then the button that is going to submit the form. Now, as I told you, we need to change the add patient method here as well. I'm going to remove this and add the new version. So add patient is going to handle the form submission. Again, let's communicating with our backend API. If we get a success response, let's get the response body added to a created, captured inside of a variable called created. And if created is not null, let's add it to the patients list. And let's reset the new patient so that the form is cleared out. So this is the new version of this method. Now let me run the code and see if it is working or not. So I'm going to get the patients. Let me go ahead, enter my own name. As you can see, if I, for example, if I have some validation errors, not only the summary element is going to provide the summary of each validation. If, for example, I enter something like this here, the summary validator is going to update the validation section. I'm going to enter some correct values. And for contact number, you remember we added the phone attribute. If I enter something that is not a phone number, I'm going to get this message. And this is my phone number. I'm going to add myself. I'm going to go to the details page, and I can see my details here. So this is working. We changed 3 things. We added some data annotation attributes to our model class. We are using some built-in components for adding a new patient now, and we changed the add patient as well. Hope you've enjoyed watching this episode as well. Stay tuned and watch the next episode. This is going to be, that episode is going to be the last episode of this series, but I'm going to tell you how you can continue learning about Blazor using some of the other playlists on the channel as well.